All right, folks. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, from wherever you are tuning in. My name is Prithviraj, and I welcome you all to this last community sync-up call for this year, December 2022. And thanks again for tuning in. A few of you have repeatedly joined our calls. Thank you so much to the community members tuning in: Nilanjan, Shubham, Vedant, Vishal, Chandan, and Raj. Thanks again for joining in. And we have a good amount of agenda items today. Let me just share my screen with the agenda. Okay, just a second. Okay, 1 second. I need to share the agenda. Screen. Right, folks, some issue with my screen sharing. Yeah, I hope you can see my screen now. Sorry, some issues with my screen sharing. But we have a packed agenda for today. Obviously, we'll have a community roundup introducing new members of call. I think most of you have already joined the call, so maybe we can at the end we can have a Q&A session, and then obviously we'll have Shubham who will give us the Helm agent updates. Vedant will talk about the latest update to Litmus CTL. We merged a few PRs, and we were supposed to have Karthik for a community year roundup, but unfortunately he's not able to join us. So I'll do the community roundup as well as what 2022 year had for us together. So without any further delay, perhaps I'll allow Shubham to share his screen and move ahead with the updates to the Helm agent, and then we'll move on to the next agenda item. Shubham, you can share your screen.
Yeah, thanks, Prithvi. Hi, everyone. I'm sharing my screen. So I will talk about the Litmus Helm agent. So this is contributed by the community member Remy. So thanks for the contribution. So yeah, so we have added a Helm chart for the to install a Litmus agent, the external agent. So right now this is available for the CI version. From the next release, it will be available for the release version as well. So for that, you need to install the Chaos Center in CI version, and then you can install the agent in a namespace or in a cluster mode. So you can, set all the, you can override all the values there. So I will, I will go through the demo. I will just quickly create the Chaos Center with CI version. Okay, so meanwhile, I can talk about all the fields which we need to tune here. So this is the name of the agent, and then you can provide the description for the agent, which will be displayed in the UI. Then if it is a remote, if the Chaos Center is running on a remote server, then you can provide the remote URL, or this is and if it is running in the same cluster, then you can provide their service, the absolute service path and the port number. And similarly for the backend. So if it is running on a remote server, then you can provide that URL. Otherwise, you can provide the local URL. Then you can provide the username, password, and also the project ID where you want to create the agent. And then there you can provide the agent mode. It can be namespace or cluster. Then for namespace mode, if it is running in the same cluster where CRTs are already present, then you can do crt.create is equal to false. And similarly for the CRT of the workflow controller, you can also make them false for the namespace scope. for the cluster scope, I mean, all things are similar. The only thing is the mode you need to provide cluster, and the CRD you do not need to turn it to false. Okay, I think I need to create namespace Litmus first. Okay, so the Litmus is the Chaos Center is already installed, so I can port forward this front end URL. So by default, it will create the self agent. So along with the self agent, I'm going to create a new namespace scoped agent in a separate namespace. So the self agent is running in a cluster scoped, and it is running in a Litmus. It is created in a Litmus namespace. So I will create in a agent namespace. I'm going to create a namespace scoped agent. So this is ready. So now I can again go to the helm chart, and I can copy these commands. So here I'm just using the default name description thing because this is not a remote agent. So I'm just removing this. Okay, and also we can check the name of service. So name of service is started with Chaos Litmus Frontend Service. Okay, so I can change this to Chaos Litmus Frontend Service. Similarly for the backend URL also I can change. And also I need to provide a project ID here. So I can copy the project ID and I'm running in a namespace mode, and because CRDs are already there, I'm using the same cluster. So I'm providing it as false. Okay, let me change the namespace because in Litmus namespace self agent is already running. So I can use a agent namespace for this. So once all the pods will be created, it will come under this. So you can see right now it launch a job. You can see there is a job which is it in a complete state. So this job install the agent. So this is a pre-installation thing. So you can see now, I mean, all the components for the agent is created and all are in running state. So we can go to the UI and verify. Okay, so the Helm agent is in active state. So this is the agent which we have installed. So we can try to schedule a chaos using this Helm agent. So we can do pod delete. So before creating that, I can create a sample application. I can create a deployment on the in the agent namespace, and I will inject the pod delete on the same. So because it is running in a namespace mode, so it is only showing agent namespace, and my application is app is equal to nginx. Yeah, so it is running. So yeah, I mean, after connecting the chaos delegate or the agent to our front end or the cluster to this control plane, so now it will work like how the self agent is working. I mean, we can schedule using this agent only. So I mean, if we want, we can wait for the completion as well. But yeah, the mainly uh, I mean, this is the flow to add a new agent using Helm chart. So you can you can go through this I mean, we just added inside the readme for now. In the Litmus Helm, you can follow the readme here. Okay, so the pod delete experiment pod is in a completed state. So yeah, so experiment is completed. So it will also, update the logs and result. Then this will also complete here as well. Yeah. So the experiment is completed. We can see, the Nginx deployment is targeted and the experiment is passed. So this is all about the connecting the external agent to using the Helm chart in a namespace, or similarly you use this for the to connect in a cluster mode. So I mean that's all about the demo. Thanks. I mean, do we have any questions?
Thanks, Shubham. If we have any questions for Shubham, you can ask them in chat, or else we can move ahead with the next agenda item that we have in hand, that is updates to the Litmus CTL. So Vedant, you can share your screen and share the updates to the Litmus CTL with us.
Hey, hi everyone. Thanks, Prithvi. So, hi everyone. This is Vedant. I'm also a contributor and reviewer at Litmus and a senior software engineer at Harness. So, along with Litmus Helm Engine, I will be sharing updates from the Litmus CTL side. So, we had good contributions from community with respect to Litmus CTL, and let me just share my screen. So let's just like before going to the working part, let's just look into what was the issue and how got enhancement for the same, right? So seriously, so like let's just first release Litmus CTL side. If you see, we had 2 contributions this time, and these are actually going to be good contributions if you are using Litmus CTL already. So for example, there's a command that was introduced very recently with respect to workflow CRUD operations, via Litmus CTL. So in case you are using, Litmus CTL for, creating your scenarios or deleting your scenarios, or, getting and describing your scenarios. So there are already some commands in the README. There was, one enhancement needed in create chaos scenario command. And that is, for example, if you are using Litmus CTL, there was one, I would say, condition on using it for creating a scenario. Your scenario should be having a step that is install chaos experiment. So there's just a sample manifest that I just created, your chaos center. So I already have a chaos center deployed and have ran some workflows there. So I just created one workflow from the same. So so let's just say this is a sample workflow that you have. In this workflow, previously till now, Litmus CTL had a condition that you need to have a step install chaos experiment inside your scenario, the workflow manifest, right? So that was why was it required? Because like if you are you have used tried constructing workflows from UI, you might have seen when you construct workflows. So let's maybe we can also take a look at the workflow or the UI flow. So whenever we go through this flow, what we do is we select our agent, and when we select our what type of scenario you want to create, and then accordingly you tune it, and you at the end there's a step that where you modify or tune your weights for your experiments, right? So let's say, you created your scenario that is, till now, let's just, I can just select any experiment here, right? And till now, your workflow manifest is created, and that's what you have already here, right? But the next part is how would you, give weights for these experiments, right? Till now what we were doing was, inside your manifest, if you go which your manifest, we are using, you will have a metadata, and inside the metadata there will be a label that is going to have a weight of 10 by default, right? So if you are generating this manifest from UI, you might be tuning your weights here, and then, saving your manifest. So whatever weight you will be providing here, same manifest, same weight will be added as a label inside your manifest. So if you go ahead and check out your manifest, all the manifests having this label. So what it denotes is that, in every experiment step, so this is, this scenario is only one experiment. So that's why there is only one chaos engine step, and this chaos engine step is having this label that is having its own weight, that is 10, right? So if you have the manifest, how would you, provide those weights, via Litmus ETL, right? So for Litmus ETL, what we generally do is, inside your manifest, you can go ahead and add your weights here as a label, and then Litmus ETL, when you are, using the, Litmus ETL for scheduling your scenarios, it will parse the manifest and, fetch all the experiments and weights which are there inside your manifest, and, send them to Chaos Center, because those are, some metadata details that we required for your calculation of resiliency score, as well as, for UI details, right? So now coming to the condition for having install chaos experiment step, and that was because the install chaos experiment step is going to have the name of the experiment, right? So it is going to have the name of the experiment. That is, if you see here, the experiment name is pod delete, and similarly how we are parsing it, we are going ahead in the experiment manifest and checking, okay, there is a manifest, there is an experiment that is pod delete, right? So now, like, as a user, if you are, running your scenarios inside your cluster, you might already running these manifest, multiple times in your cluster, right? Now this first step was only for applying this custom resource definition of delete, right? Now you don't want to apply it again and again, right? And there will be a case in future, you have already used this manifest, you might remove this step, because now you don't want to apply this step. This resource already exists onto your cluster, you just want to move ahead with your experiment directly, right? So now as a user, you won't have this step, right? Now what will happen to Litmus CTL, and that was the enhancement done with Litmus CTL. Previously it was using this particular manifest to fetch the name of the experiments which are present in your scenario. But now, because that is not a very good condition, and users might not have this experiment manifest in their scenario workflow, right? So now to make awful, you are doing thing in our front end, when we construct the experiment to show you these weight names and all, how we were doing is was we were going into the chaos engines and fetching the names from there. So it already has the experiment name here. So now same thing been done. Now coming to the PR. This was a contribution of Nikojit, thanks to him. This is like really a great contribution in enhancing our Litmus ETL and making us independent of install chaos experiment, right? You don't want to have this step, in of your flows, right? You already have this. So what it is done is now this enhancement, it is going to go inside all the chaos engines and fetch their names via regex or some other way, right? Now we do that, this step is not required always. Now this becomes optional, you don't have to embed this step always inside your manifest. And this actually makes your scenarios sometimes heavy also, in case you have more than 4 or 5 experiments, right? So in that case, now as an enhancement in this PR, this was the first enhancement that now it is going to go through all the steps and check which step contains chaos engine kind, and then fetches the name of the experiment from there. So now this step is not required. So this was one enhancement, and this is going inside of your scenarios also. You don't have to have these experiment steps always manifest. If this is already exists in your cluster, you can just remove this manifest from the so this was one of the, and coming to the again release note. Second was with respect to workflow name. So coming to this one, where we are generating our manifest here in UI, right? Let's go here. So I just did this one. So we what we can do is we can just come here. Maybe my internet is a bit slower. Okay. So it's going this right. So if you see by default, our manifest is going to have a name inside the metadata. It is not going to have a generate name because we ourselves add regex in the workflow. So via UI and as well as from backend, if element contains, so it is not going to have generate name here, right? But as a user, right, when you are using Litmus CTL for scheduling your workflows, right? You will be having a single workflow and you want to run it, each and every time, right? Now, if you have only name here, right? Only name here, this is like, general, Kubernetes is not going to allow you to apply it again and again, or it might just override it, right? So if you want to do that, it is going to override it, and your workflows will not be, the Chaos Center is not going to allow you, schedule the same workflow again and again, because it is having the same name. It will give you an error via API. So it is going to allow you to run the, schedule itself. So now what is done is, firstly, like as a condition, what we need was to have data. So, but the user, you don't want to always be with that condition. So now what you can do is you can also have generate name here. Like, you have to we have to, Kubernetes rules. So either one of them has to be there, either name or either generate name. So that was one thing. So in the case, you can't have name here. So you only have to have one thing. So if now what will happen is, if you have the generate name here, if you use older version of Litmus CTL, it is going to fail, because by default it is going to go for searching the name of the scenario. But now as a user, I want to use generate name because I want to use the same workflow again and again, right? I don't want to again and again go ahead and manifest and change the name here, right? I just provided generate name. You can, when I schedule, you can add a hash here. So now this Litmus CTL, the second PI we had, this is also, this was also done by Nikoj, thanks to him. So this was also done by him. Here now is, in case, your manifest is having generate name, what it will do, it will scan your manifest. If it is having this generate name, it will take the this, what generate name you have given here, it will convert it into name and add some hash. So it can be any hash. So now every time you don't have concerned about it, you are just giving this workflow, and when Litmus CTL sends this same workflow to Chaos Center, it is going to append some hash here. So every time your metadata name is changing, and when metadata name is changing, it's like, it's always like creating a new workflow, or it's a new scenario for Chaos Center. So Chaos Center is also going to allow you to do that, and Kubernetes is also going to allow you to do that. You can always, again and again apply this manifest, with the same name, but then that is also not good. You are going to override the, custom, the workflow itself. So now what will happen is that in using generate name, that will be converted by Litmus CTL into name, and some hash will be added at the end of the name to make it unique. Like to Chaos, you might have already scheduled that workflow previously. So yeah, these are two contributions on the Litmus CTL sites. I can just show a demo. So let's just say we can just start with this one. We have the name here, right? And if you see, I already have a workflow that is scheduled with the name custom, right? So what I want to do is, I don't want to again schedule the same workflow, because it's going to give me error, because custom workflow already exists here. So what I'm going to do is, as a user, what I want to do is, I don't want to change my workflow always again and again whenever I schedule this workflow. I convert it into a generate name. So now, if you, for this one, just, as a note, since this is released in this version 0.16.0 of Litmus CTL. So now if you do this one, this will be converted into name, and this will be scheduled with some hash. So let's, just go to the terminal and I can just use this workflow. So this is the command. I think if you don't know about it, you can go to the Litmus doc as well as the usage.md is here. So we already have a command to schedule the chaos scenario via manifest. You just have to give the project ID and delegate ID actually here, and you can provide your manifest here. So we already have the manifest here. I have the command ready with project ID and delegate ID here. So let's just go. So if you see, we only have generate name here. We don't have a name here, right? So let's just, create this scenario. So it is going to make an API. So if you see, right, it created a scenario. There is a name custom, but it also had a hash here, right? And now if we go in the UI and maybe come back to this screen, right? There's a workflow schedule with the same name. And if you go into the run, it has already started running, right? So this was, one enhancement that I just saw you. So this was the second PR that we just, have shown you. And I will just terminate it. We don't have to wait for it to, fail. Okay, it already failed. Yeah. Okay. So next is, this one, to make this install chaos experiment optional, right? So let's just, remove this install chaos experiments step. And we can also, remove this one part also here. So if we go and remove this one, right? So now we are here. So it is going to search for this chaos engine part, and it's going to fetch the pod delete name from here, and then it will schedule. So let's just go here and again schedule this workflow. Since we have the generate name, so it should not face any issue. So it again added a hash here, if you see, right? So now this is helpful, right? We don't have to go ahead and again change the name here. It will automatically do that. And if you see, this workflow is also scheduled. But if you try to do the same, if you don't have this step here, the install chaos experiment here, and if you try to schedule the workflow via going to go in the install experiment step. And turn it like I'm going to try these instance, U 16.0 version of it already released. So you can either use it for installing it and not yeah. So I think that's all the making these conferences. My oh,
Yes, Vedant had some issues with his internet. Vedant, are you there with us?
yeah, sorry, I think I got disconnected. So yeah, was I audible till the end, or was I got connected in between?
I think Vedant, you had some internet issues. You got disconnected, and that like the end, we could not hear the last 2 minutes, perhaps. Maybe you
Oh,
could repeat that for the community, the last two minutes.
okay. So let me check. So like, you were able to see the demos, right? The scheduling of both the without install chaos experiment also, right? This
Yes, yes.
or
Saw the demo, just the
like
last page, Abhi. Yes, yes. After this, the last page. Yeah, this one.
okay. Yeah. So yeah, I was just saying that these were the two contributions done from the community thanks to Nico J, I would say. These are the great contributions, and it's good to see that having these contributions from community, and it is also going to help our module, right? LitmusCTL to grow more. So, yeah. Thanks to Nico, and please keep using LitmusCTL and like upcoming Litmus Helm agent also, right? But yeah, thank you. Yeah, Prithvi, you can take it from here.
All right, thanks a lot, Vedant. We move on to the last item we have for today. Let me just share my screen. I hope my screen is visible. Just give me a second. Yes, so we'll quickly go through community roundup update. Sorry, my screen sharing has some issues today. So it was an amazing year for Litmus Chaos. I mean, we did a complete CNCF webinar on the quick community roundup, but we'll just have a quick review on what all did we achieve this year. I mean, this year started off amazingly with the CNCF incubation, and I mean, chaos engineering is being supported by the overall community. And similarly, Litmus Chaos became a CNCF incubating project on the 11th of January. And that's been an amazing step moving ahead for us in the CNCF ecosystem. And Chris as well, the CTO of CNCF, has spoken highly of Litmus Chaos as well as chaos engineering is a technology. And here are some updates on what Litmus has been. I mean, 5 years of active development. We have had more than 5 million Docker pulls, and it's been adopted by these amazing folks out there formally, but then informally as well. We have so many users from around the world who are using Litmus. So moving on to the metrics in 2022, I mean, this was the metrics that we recorded until last week, where we have had 1,000+ stars, 100+ folks, a few amazing Slack members tuning in, and these have been the metrics since the last 1 year that the project has seen. And it's been amazing to see the number of commits, the number of pushes, and everything that the project has witnessed. Moving on, obviously, if you have had the chance to check out the latest Litmus Chaos website, then you'll see the latest developments, and maybe it becomes an easier interface for people who are getting started with chaos engineering and access to documentation, the Chaos Hub, and the enterprise version of Litmus. Adopters in 2022, again, thanks a lot to all the folks who have adopted the Litmus project this year, and shout out to them for sharing their stories with us. One of them was the Adidas story, and there are so many more stories in the form of the FIS story and the iFood story. I think this has been shared in one of my talks at Cube Day Japan as well. And this has been the update. Lastly, community events and programs. There have been so many community events and programs that Litmus Chaos has been a part of, and we are hopeful perhaps next year as well we'll have the community join in for these events and programs. And if you are interested, you are keen to submit a talk, you are keen to write a blog, you are keen to take part in the community, then feel free to share that with us. And moving on, community meetings and sync-up calls, we'll be continuing to have them. And thanks a lot for tuning into this last community call. We'll be sharing the recording on YouTube as well. And hopefully next year we see you around more community calls. KubeCons were amazing again, at Detroit as well as Valencia. We are looking forward to participating in the next year's KubeCon, and rest of the updates, I think we have shared in this video. As you can see, this Litmus Chaos Year Review 2022, the Chaos Engineering Updates, which contains a full-fledged review of what we achieved in 2022. Me and Vedant have shared regarding the community, regarding the project itself, the engineering updates. So feel free to tune in and feel free to see what Litmus Chaos has achieved in this year 2022. With this, we come to the end of this community sync-up call. Thank you so much everyone for tuning in to the last community sync-up call. I think we wrapped up early. And once again, thank you so much for being an amazing community and supporting Litmus Chaos for this year. So with this, I'll stop sharing my screen. Maybe we can open the floor for any introductions or any questions. I see Abdul joining in. He joined in late. Abdul, would you like to introduce yourself to the community?
Yeah, myself of the row. So sorry, I was a bit late. Had some other meetings in place. So yeah, I do work as a Kubernetes infra engineer. So we do use Litmus Chaos, to check the stability of the cluster. And yeah.
That's amazing, Abdullah. Where do you work again? I just missed that out, maybe.
Yeah, I do work with War Air.
Oh, that's amazing, Abdul. I mean, I'm glad to know that you folks have been using Litmus Chaos, and hopefully you are part of the Slack channel, the Slack community. So if you have any questions, any stories to share, feel free to converse with the community on Slack. That would be great.
Sure, sure.
I also see Rupesh joining in. Rupesh, would you like to just quickly introduce yourself? I'm sorry, we are wrapping up the call, but you joined us right now. So if you are interested, you can just go ahead and introduce yourself. Okay, I guess Rupesh is having some issues with his mic. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. Thanks, Abdul, for introducing us. If you have any questions, feel free to ask us now or on Slack. And again, thanks, Raj. Thanks, Shubham. Thanks, Vedant, for staying by. And thank you so much once again to the community. And it's a goodbye from the Litmus Chaos community for 2022. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.